Let's begin. Today is November 18th, 2024, and we're solving the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses the following 5 criteria cards. Criteria card 1, 6, 10, 17, and 22. And the puzzle uses the orange verification cards. The code above is your way to get more information on today's puzzle by searching the code on turingmachine.info. Let's go solve. So in the grid above, we've got our 5 criteria cards. On the top row, we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, and criteria card C. On the bottom row, we've got criteria card D and criteria card E. So criteria card A takes a look at our first digit, the triangle digit, and compares it to the number 1. So should the value of triangle be equal to 1, or should the value of triangle be greater than 1? Criteria card B takes a look at our middle digit, the square digit, and the Turing Machine will let us know whether it's an even digit or an odd digit. Criteria card C takes a look at our 3-digit solution and will let us know how many of those digits are 4. Are there no 4s? Is there a single 4? Perhaps 2? Maybe even all 3 are 4. Criteria card D, again, takes a look at our 3-digit solution, but this time it'll let us know how many evens there are. Are there no evens? Is there a single even? Perhaps 2, maybe even all 3 are even. And finally, criteria card E again takes a look at our 3 digits from triangle to square to circle and will let us know a little bit about the ordering of the digits. Should the digits appear in an ascending order, as in the example 135? Should they be in a descending order, as in the example 421, or should they have no order? So let's take a look at that example of 231. Notice that it goes from 2 to 3 and it's increasing, but then it goes from 3 to 1, then decreasing. Of course, it could also have gone from decreasing to increasing, but it's that shift from one to the other that is one way to define a 3-digit code as having no order. We've also seen in previous puzzles where if you have consecutive equal digits, that can also exhibit having no order. For example, if you had something that was say 334, for example, going from 3 to 3, it neither increases nor decreases. So that's why consecutive equal digits also exhibit no order. And remember, the objective of today's puzzle is to find that unique 3-digit code that abides by all of the 5 criteria cards we just described. And we're going to start off with an initial proposal of 314. So the first thing I'd like to test is criteria card B. Okay, so the Turing Machine does not approve of my choice for square. I did pick an odd 1. Since the Turing Machine does not agree with it, it's letting me know that square should actually be an even digit. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes in section B. And we'll say that square is an even digit. And since it is even, let's go ahead and cross out the odds. So crossing out 1, 3, and 5. Now that it is quite interesting that you have criteria cards C and D, the number of evens and the number of 4s. So we've established that at least square is even. So we know we can't have 0 evens. Is there any indication if we could have 3 evens? Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything that would disqualify it or confirm that you could have 3. All we know is we surely have just a single one at least, but there could be 2 or even 3. Now, the opposite can be said of the number of 4s. We know that you can't have 3 4s because that would automatically mean that you have 3 evens. So we know you can't have 3 4s. Now you could have 2, 1 or none. Let's see. What else? So let's see, we do have at least a single even. Could you have 3? I'm trying to think of cases. Maybe we can say that you can't have 3 evens, because I think the fact that you're only limited to 2s and 4s, if we consider the case of having 3 evens, and let's say, for instance, that all of them are the same digit. For example, all 2s or all 4s, just as an example. We know that would exhibit no order, because you wouldn't change from one digit to another, it wouldn't increase or decrease. So that means that there's no order. And if you had 2 of them, as I described earlier, if you have either consecutive equal digits, or even if they're separated by that middle digit, both of those cases would also, would exhibit no order. So I don't think you could have 3 evens for that fact, because any scenario having 3 evens would have no order, again, and making this criteria card obsolete or irrelevant. So I don't think you have 3. So it is a 50-50. So let's go ahead and test criteria card D. Okay, so it is true that there should be only 1 even digit. Notice that in my proposal, I do have a single even. And so that is correct. So that means, let's go ahead and type that up in our notes in section D, and we'll say that the solution has a single even. And since we've already established that square is even, that means that triangle and circle must be odd. So let's go ahead then and cross out all of the evens in triangle and circle. And so we're basically looking at a solution that is odd, even, odd. Okay, and so that then leaves criteria card C, the number of 4s, as a 50-50. It's either there or it's not. It's either a 4 or it's a 2. And so what else can we say? Well, it would be interesting. I wonder if criteria card A, comparing triangle to the number 1, I don't want to assume, but maybe it's just there to eliminate 1. And so that would leave 3 or 5. Let's see. So the 4 is a 50-50. I wonder, what criteria card E, the ordering, could reveal. I do have no order. I am going to, let's go ahead and test criteria card E. I'm curious if it's no order. Okay, so it's not. So it's either ascending or descending. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and type that up in our notes, and we'll say that the solution is either ascending or descending. Now, I will say we typically don't have many of those, but this is one of those occasions. Well, that does it for this round. We did complete our 3 Turing tests. We're now going into the phase where we'll be discussing how to construct a good second round proposal. So notice that we did not test criteria card A, comparing that triangle digit to 1. We also did not test the number 4. That's a 50-50. So it's either there or it's not. And we still have the ordering to be outstanding. So notice the other thing is that there's no reference at all in our criteria cards for circle. So circle somehow is going to be forced to be, one of those odd values, and more than likely it has something to do with perhaps criteria card A, because we know what our beginning is, and criteria card E, whether it's ascending or descending. Well, let's see. If we knew triangle were 1, then we would know it would be ascending. But how would you pick? I guess it would depend on what, if there's a 4 or not. It could be 1, 4, 5, or it could be 1, 2, 3, 5. And I don't see how you would be able to pick from 3 or 5. So it's a combination of 1 and 2 that does not make it viable. And I guess the same could be said of 5. If it's 5, 4, then how would you pick between 1 and 3 for descending? So let's see, is there a way? And what about 3 in the middle? I guess you could always have 3, 2, 1 or 3, 4, 5. But I'm thinking it may not be, because if it were, but then again, we're kind of in the middle of gameplay. So if it were a 3, then, knowing what square would be would lead to one or the other. I'm not sure. But let's see. So I think, how would you choose between 3 or 5? I guess it depends on whether it's ascending or descending. Well, I'm going to say, let's see, again, you're kind of forced to pick between 3 and 5, and you can't. So 1, 4, 5, I guess, looks viable, and 5, 2, 1 looks viable. Perhaps it's something like it's ascending and not a 1, something like that, or descending and not a 1. Therefore, but then it also has to do with square. Well, let's go ahead and say 1, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 1. Wow, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, let's go ahead and let's pick 3, 2, 1. I don't know if there's any way to hedge our bets, but just to make sure, is that middle digit even? It is. And that's our only even. And I guess we're saying it's descending. Okay, well, let's give that a try. And let's go ahead, since there's probably no way to deduce whether there's a 2 or a 4, I guess. Let's go ahead and test C. Okay, so it does not like the fact that I have a 2. So let's see, how do we know it's a 50-50, so, or the fact that there is no 4. So there has to be at least one 4, I guess, is a way to say it. So let's go ahead, though, and write it that we're going to deduce the solution has a single 4-digit. So that means square cannot be a 2. And so what does that mean for I have a descending solution? Can I still have descending? Yeah, I guess 5, 4, 1. Well, actually, I don't think we could have descending, because the only case would be for a 5, and how would you choose between 1 and 3 for circle? So I'm going to deduce that it's actually ascending, and I guess criteria card A will let me know which one it is. So let me go ahead and cross out descending. I already know that my proposal is invalid. And so let's go ahead and test criteria card A. Okay, so it also does not like the fact that my value is greater than 1. Notice that 3 is greater than 1, but that is incorrect. So actually, the Turing Machine is letting me know that triangle is equal to 1. So triangle is equal to 1. And so let's go ahead and cross out both 3 and 5. Giving more sort of proof that it cannot be descending. How can you have a descending solution with triangle of 1? And of course, we already established that, yeah, square is 4. And so the only way it can be ascending is if it's 1, 4, 5. So yeah, forcing circle to be the 5. So let's go ahead and cross out that. And so yeah, it looks like our solution is 1, 4, 5. And so just quickly reviewing, yes, that first digit is a 1. We do have an even and square, and it's our lone 4-digit. We also know that it's ascending. So yeah, 1, 4, 5. All right, but let's verify nonetheless. So 1, 4, 5, and let's see. All right, fantastic. Well, how do we do versus the Turing Machine? Well, it is a 5 criteria puzzle, and we did exactly 5 tests. We did B, D, E in the first round, and D was our only correct one. And we did the remaining 2 in the second round, and that was AC. So let's go ahead and type that up. So B, D, E. So everything was incorrect except for D. Oops. And then A, C in the second round were also incorrect. So how do we do? Okay, fantastic. So we beat it by 1 question. So again, it is one of those rare cases where I would say that we have an ascending or a descending solution. A bit of a twist there. We're maybe so conditioned to always think no order, unfortunately, but that's how these puzzles sort of play out. But what about you? How did you solve it? What criteria cards did you choose and in what order? And did you discover anything interesting that you'd like to share? Add those thoughts to the comments. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe to not miss out on any future videos. Well, until next time, have a great one.